Sorry, folks, what you've been hearing and what we think is going to happen with AMC and this event is not, unfortunately, what will necessarily, unfold as we expect it to happen. I'm talking here about the whole China Evergrande situation. I don't know what you guys were referring to, but I feel like, we were not on the same page. So just to clarify, talking about the Evergrande situation, because if you really goes back to all the videos have been out there and what even mainstream media is talking about and focusing on lately on the markets, it's really about this Evergrande situation. But within the AMC community, I see a lot of posts, I see a lot of videos, I see a lot of talks around a correlation between what can potentially happen with Evergrande, and they're trying to tie that back to AMC short squeezing. Well, I want to uncover that and make things right about what this situation is really about and why most of what we're hearing so far is not even the truth or half of the truth about what is expected to happen. And that's why I don't think what we think is going to happen with Evergrande and AMC is not. All right, hear me out. China Evergrande, top 3 real estate developers in China, owning millions of apartments, but not only being present in the real estate business, but really the whole business weight of that company in China represents almost 30% of the entire economy. And because next coming Thursday, they already disclosed that they may not be able to repay or pay back or pay some of the interest on that huge 300 billion tab they owe to creditors being most of financial institutions, not only in China but also here in the US, like BlackRock, for example. Lots of people are trying to think that because so far it doesn't seem like China as a country is going to do something about it and is going to pretty much teach a lesson to those too big to fail companies, and use that as pretty much an example, because this whole situation has been going through for the last 8 to 10 years. It's not today that China Evergrande has been on the brink of defaulting. They were already way overextended on debt since 2012, for example, when Citrus, hedge fund, initiated a short report on that company. That was 2012. That's 8-9 years ago, right? So it goes all the way back then. But the country, China, and the regulators there didn't really do anything to address the matter. But now that they are on the brink of defaulting, it's really pointing out to 2 main scenarios. First, they do default, and what's going to happen to other companies outside of China and even here in the US holding that paper, holding that debt, holding that bond, who lended money to that company, and ramifications on what's going to happen here with AMC. Well, the thing is, the likelihood of that scenario happening is a little bit thin. Why? Because Evergrande as a company holding pretty much 30% of the economy, it's kind of a too big to fail. Yeah, it's kind of too big to fail. And people have been trying to connect this with Lehman Brothers. When they did defaulted, it created a huge drop in the market. S&P lost almost 20%. And thinking about AMC having a negative beta, meaning if the stock market drops significantly, then we can expect, the price to surge. Well, so far, we are not seeing that. All right? And that's why I think this other scenario, it's more likely to happen. And it's about China jumping into this whole thing and bailing out this company, because if it does default, we're talking about almost 3 to 4 million indirect jobs that are going to be affected, because the real estate market in China, it's kind of like the stock market here in the US. So it is very, very big. And I don't think they're going to allow that to happen, even though they want to teach a lesson to Evergrande and the retail investors and these other big companies that think they are too big to fail. But the caveat to that is the culture of China. China is a communist a country. So things are really managed and handled like a big company, a global giant company instead of a country. And there's always been a competition between what China want to do and what the US want to do. So they want to handle things differently than what we did. So remember back in 2008 when the US government bailed out the banks? So they cannot really do that. So they're going to try to do things a little bit different. But at this point, I don't think they have a choice. Again, because if that happens, they will lose a big chunk of the market growth and lose that competitive place with being the second largest economy, when US is the first, and when sometimes US is second, they are first. So just to say, guys, my views on this are we're going to likely move with the second scenario and not letting China Evergrande as a company completely default, hence preventing a huge market drop in China and here in the rest of the US. I mean, the rest of the countries in the US. And because of that, that's why I don't think at all that we can see Evergrande having a spill effect, even a major spill effect into AMC. I may be wrong because these are just my views based on how I read the situation in the markets, but I may be totally wrong. All right. So that's it. Just my 2 cents.